Brothers, I'm sorry I'm not attending in person. However, I booked the current trip I'm on back in February before this date was announced. Once the grand chapter was moved to this weekend, I did call the Baseball Hall of Fame and asked them to move induction to any other weekend, but they refused, which I actually thought that was pretty rude. I'm also sorry that all I'm sending is this video rather than a flashy FX-laden video, but my feeling, no, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not an FX-laden type of guy. I'm one of those people who puts his head down and gets the job done. So before I get into my vision, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Dan Fleckner, the middle child of 3 boys. I can never really say where it is that I grew up since I moved around a lot when I was younger. But I lived in central New Jersey from 4th grade through high school, specifically Lawrenceville, for those of you who know the area or are curious. I attended the Petty School in Hightstown, New Jersey, and then I moved on to Clark University for college. There were 3 reasons why I chose Clark. The first reason was it was more than 200 miles from home. That was actually a criteria my mother had set up. I don't know if that was good or bad. Anyway, number 2 is it offered an environmental studies major. Back in the early 1990s, it wasn't an easy thing to find. I never did graduate Clark, and I never did major in environmental studies. I majored in political science. And the third reason, believe it or not, was it didn't have any recognized fraternities or sororities. I'm not kidding. As a high school senior, I was pretty opposed to fraternities. I felt they were just an excuse for a group of guys to get together, drink a couple of beers, and beat the snot out of pledges. Once I got to Clark, I did find out they had 3 underground fraternities and an underground sorority. I attended a Tau Epsilon Phi party during orientation and had a great time and met some great new guys. A couple of the other guys and I, who lived in the freshman dorm, we decided we wanted to pledge and join this great group of guys. But I did vow to myself that I'd drop out the moment they hit me. So, I pledged. They never hit me, so I never dropped out. And I realized over the course of pledging the true meaning of brotherhood. And I was surprised by such a diverse group of guys that, to be honest, I probably wouldn't have hung out with had I not joined the fraternity. To this day, I still keep in touch with a couple of the guys, and, we see each other whenever we're in the same town at the same time. So anyway, I got back into Tau Epsilon Phi when we were looking at expanding into Ohio State University, as I currently live in Columbus, Ohio. I took a pretty active role in assisting with the group here, and I pledged to become the alumni advisor. Excuse me. Now, that particular group didn't work out, but we made some great connections on campus, and we do have some tremendous possibilities for the future. I also attended a meet and greet in Columbus, which I thought was a fantastic thing because there were about 20 total people, and they represented not only all generations from Ohio State, but many different schools and, guys who have just settled in the Columbus area. And that actually leads me to what I hope to focus most of my energies upon if elected to the Grand Council, and that is alumni re-engagement. My personal feeling, and it's only been re-emphasized anytime I speak to a different alumni for any different reason, is that, we do a great job. We do a good job of reconnecting with alumni, but we need to work on following up on those connections. There are so many examples of alumni who have offered either time, talent, or treasure that we have failed to then capitalize on. I feel there are many aspects of alumni re-engagement, and the specific area where I really want to focus my attention will be on making sure interested alumni are being found places where they can positively contribute to growing our fantastic fraternity. I've spent enough time around volunteer organizations to understand that, one of the biggest challenges is when people volunteer, sometimes they don't show up. So I'm also going to check in regularly with other committee chairs to see which volunteers need some polite reminding of how valuable their service really is to us. This also gives us another chance to figure out if, they don't like their particular assignment, maybe we can move them so, they're still involved in the organization and we can harness their energy and passion in a way where they enjoy contributing. Undergrads, my experiences have shown that your needs are constantly changing and evolving. I feel almost any promise I make to you would be broken because your situation is more fluid as your college path propels you towards the real world. My promise to you, though, is that I will be available to any of you at a resource at any time you need me. And if elected, I will try to visit every single chapter in Colony, as I do quite a bit of traveling. Except my next scheduled trip to Phoenix is 2 years away. So ASU, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to try. So while working with the Ohio State Interest Group, I also went to Kansas City and attended an NIC conference. While there, I realized our single greatest challenge as an organization is we lack a cohesive vision and path for the future. I feel if all of us work together towards common goals, we would eliminate a number of the small challenges that are currently holding us back from where we all wish to be. If elected, I would form and chair a temporary committee for strategic planning, allowing everyone an equal chance for input. I envision setting out a couple of short-term goals and a couple of long-term goals, called from what I only imagine will be the many, many opinions I'll get once my committee begins soliciting those ideas and visions. Upon completion, everyone would know the direction we're trying to move towards. They can either help or not, but at least we'd be working together as a cohesive unit. This would also allow for a greater committee system with responsibilities being shared a lot more equally. I also feel it would be a great resource to answer the same questions that we all seem to hear as brothers reconnect with the group. You know, it reminds me of something the wise 20th century philosopher Yogi Berra once said, "If you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else." And I think we're someplace else. There is one final reason why I want to join the Grand Council, and I've been struggling with how to quantify it into words, as it's more of a feeling than anything concrete. Over the years, I've learned a very specific lesson that I feel would serve all of us well. The lesson is that the only thing you accomplish by blaming and complaining is losing time that could have been spent making us better. Does that make any sense? We are where we are. Any contribution beyond helping us move forward eats into valuable time we should be dedicating towards that single achievement. Although the past is a valuable resource for learning from and avoiding past pitfalls, it seems to me that right now we're losing valuable time that we can spend shaping the future. I will remind brothers that we are brothers, and we should not allow blame games to interfere with us accomplishing our goals together. I look forward to working with all of you, whether I'm elected or not. I feel that I would not only be a positive contribution to the upcoming Grand Council, but also an active participant. Thank you for your time today. Once again, I'm Dan Fleckner.